for a good like 8 years or so. It's where I met my husband, and we've been together almost a decade now. And that's just a little bit about me.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank
What
you.
what made you get off the road?
Um,
If you don't mind me
Mostly,
asking.
no, it's totally fine. Mostly my addiction issues were just getting so fucking out of hand that I realized that like I was gonna die, my relationship was gonna end. I just like I needed to get off the road to save myself basically. It was fun when it was an adventure, but once I got older and was just like totally addicted to heroin, it was just not fun anymore, you know what I mean?
Right, of course, and it's all fun and games until that's not where you want to be anymore. That's the problem.
Yeah.
When we're kids, we like to play around with darkness and play around with death and all this stuff, and drugs seem to be real cool and everything until you start getting older and you start realizing you should have started um, convincing your younger self to take care of your older self, and you can start almost feeling it. I totally get it.
Exactly. Yeah. I was just like I was done with like the risk-taking behaviors, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Now we talked when we first started talking. We started talking about domestic violence on the road. I seen a lot of domestic violence on the road, and it was a lot of times it was because of hard, heavy drinking and drug use. People don't realize that a lot of drugs burn up your dopamines and serotonin, which makes you cranky in the long run if you don't have them. Hi, Tony, or Tawny. I'm sorry. Hi, Tawny. Uh, Welcome to the group. Um, we don't realize until it's happening to us that it's a problem. Did you see a lot of domestic violence on the road?
I did, yeah. I mean, my first relationship, like, I didn't expect to find myself on the road, and I was kind of like taken in by this group, and I was 18 and dating like a 24-year-old. He ended up doing a summer in jail for just like hitting me in front of a cop, basically.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
and he's dead now. Like most of my abusers are dead, which is just like so satisfying. The main one, he smashed my face up against the dumpster and broke out like these two teeth. They were just like shattered. I
Oh, I'm
got
sorry to hear
veneers
that.
on them now, but like God, it was above the nerve, so it was so fucking painful. He ended up
Yeah.
stabbing me in the arm the same night. He stole all of my gear, so I ended up in New Orleans just like gearless and fearless,
Yeah.
like just with nothing. Luckily, I had friends who took care of me and found me a pack and a sleeping bag, and I started like acquiring things. But there were some like really sentimental things in that backpack. That was kind of like the worst part of it, in my opinion. Not to mention like the tooth pain that I had just had to deal with until the nerve died. And it was embarrassing just being like mutilated like that and having my abuse there for the world to see. You know what I mean?
Right. It's almost like you get abused over and over again, especially when you're on the road and you lose everything because it's like a wave crashing on top of you. Now you lost not only a relationship, but you lost all your gear as well. And then of course to be abused, it leaves people in a bad place. Do you do any type of activism towards that? um do you is there resources for traveling females that they can help to get off the road? Well, what would you suggest to start first?
I
If
mean, I know that New York City has like really good resources to get people into housing. It's a long process where you have to live in a shelter first. Although a lot of those shelters will give you private rooms that you can have the key to and lock and everything, but the problem is a lot of people have dogs, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
especially
like
right on the road, right?
yeah, I do know a lot of people who have gone through like the breaking ground thing, but they have to see you out there for like 9 months at a time. They come check on you at your spot and
Mhm.
everything. So I was going through that process, but ended up it just took too long, you know what I mean? But I do know a
Yeah.
lot of people who went through the shelter system and ended up getting like really, really nice apartments here, like basically for free.
Nice.
So I definitely recommend New York City as like a good place for people to access resources to get off the road if they want to. I didn't utilize them. I just sort of it was hell. I was living with this absolute fucking psychopath in like a studio apartment, four of us. There were bunk beds and futons involved and stuff, but it was my step to get off the road. You know what I mean? It was my first step to like sort of like independence. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I had a hard time myself getting off the road. I kind of was thrown back on the road because I had pancreatitis from drinking too much and basically lost my studio. But when you're thrown onto the road, in that type of situation, it's even harder to get off. You know, the more time
Yeah.
you stay in there, the harder it is to get yourself off. And I was blessed with my sister that she allowed me to come here and be creative and do some of the things that I do. And she's my biggest supporter. Her and Tawny Manchester, who's watching right now, they're my biggest supporter. So, what I know that when you talked, there was a few points that you wanted to bring up about domestic violence and the road. Is there a few points that we didn't bring up that is important that you think that people should know?
I mean, I think definitely alcoholism has a lot to do with this. And I think that like most of the violence is against women. And like the thing is, so when my abuser Asher died, um, his he had a lot of supporters, despite the fact that someone else had accused him of rape. He had raped me in the past. He broke my teeth out. He stabbed me, and still he had supporters. Like literally, his biggest fan was a woman because like he told her that we were like myself from him. You know what I mean? So I
Oh
feel like
yeah.
a lot of the times, like when you're not seen as like the perfect victim, people will turn on you. You know what I mean?
I think
Despite the
it's
fact that like the evidence of his abuse was just like right there on my face. You know what I mean?
right. I think it's important too to take responsibility as someone who is in the dating um, uh, arena, to have good boundaries, right? To set boundaries and to adhere to them. This is how we kind of test people to see if they're going to be one of those abusers. If you'll cross the boundaries about something that's small, you're definitely going to cross the boundaries about something that's larger, which is physical abuse.
That's so true. And I mean,
You
it's
know,
so hard to set and adhere to those boundaries when you're with someone 24/7. Like, you know what I mean?
it
When you're
is. It
when
is.
you're dating someone on the road, it's like right from the beginning, you're just with them all the fucking time. You know what
Right,
I
because
mean?
you have
So,
like a road dog, you know what I mean?
yeah,
That's what
exactly.
they
They're your road
basically.
dog and your partner. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And it's hard because like you want to be able to trust them because you trust them with your life if you're road dogging with them.
Yeah.
Oh, thank
And
you
you
guys.
just